So in the past couple of days, the Davante Adams trade went down, and I want to check out this short clip from ESPN a little bit earlier today on First Take to hear what Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe have to say about the move that the Jets have made and basically the impact of Davante Adams going to the Jets. So here we go.
I'm not going to go too long on this because I think the audience needs to be educated about Shay and Saturday and what y'all have to say. Here's what I will say that I'm monitoring. Davante Adams for a different reason. This is a number one wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Somebody who's already cultivated a relationship spanning years with Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers doing his own thing, having his own mentality, feeling a need to just do certain things in an unorthodox way compared to conventionally great quarterbacks that we've seen in the past. There is nobody on the Jets roster that has the cachet to tell Aaron Rodgers anything.
Nobody. Davante.
One dude is about to arrive.
Yeah.
And Davante Adams. So, number one, in my opinion, Shannon, he's going to be somebody that can look at the other receivers, the other cats on offense, and hold them accountable from the standpoint of communicating with them in a way that you know is going to ingratiate them with Aaron Rodgers. But he also has the cachet to be somebody that can go to Aaron Rodgers and talk to Aaron Rodgers in a way that nobody else would be in a position to do so. I think, Shannon, that is a nugget that we shouldn't ignore. I don't know how you feel about that. Yeah.
All right, so first off, let me react there to what Stephen A. Smith had to say. So there's no doubt when you have Rodgers here, when you have Davante here, who were in Green Bay for years and years together, they have that elite connection, and so Davante is on another level than any other player on the Jets offense, and because of that, he is going to be able to have thoughts he can share with Aaron, where Aaron will probably be more likely to take them into consideration when it comes from someone like Davante Adams that he has a relationship with, that he trusts, and that he knows can play at the highest level. The area, though, I don't necessarily think is that important. Stephen A. Smith brings up Davante being able to share things with Aaron because maybe Aaron gets into where he wants to do his own thing, things like that. I just don't have a problem with Aaron Rodgers wanting to do what he thinks is best, considering he is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I would probably lean more towards the Jets offense trying to do what Aaron wants to do instead of, what another receiver may think. But I do think having Davante there, because Rodgers trusts him, he can probably bring things to Aaron that he thinks are important. They'll discuss it, figure things out like that. But I think that when you look at the Jets so far this season, there's no doubt early in the year, outside of the past game, for majority of it, the Jets offense was a problem. A lot of it was Aaron Rodgers just not really playing good football. And I think part of that is the fact that it still had been early in the season, 5 weeks in, where you have Rodgers back from his Achilles tear. You have this offense that doesn't have a lot of experience with Rodgers. You have Nathaniel Hackett calling plays. Clearly that did not work. And the first week that Hackett stops calling plays, the Jets offense seems to really take it up a notch, and it seemed like they're really starting to gel and get things going offensively. And, of course, adding Davante here takes this team to another level. And lots of people have brought up criticism of the offensive line, and I don't think they've been perfect. But so far this year, they've been better than I think most people that I've seen scrolling on social media, at least fans, like on ESPN and stuff, have said. The Jets offensive line right now has the second best pressure percentage allowed in the NFL, according to NFL Pro, at 26%. They do, however, allow the 10th most sacks at 16. So they haven't been perfect, but I do not think they've been terrible. And I think that with Davante here, he gives them, an ability to do a lot of things in the red zone. That trust factor is going to go a long way here. Now let's hear what Shannon Sharpe has to say.
Well, I definitely think he can actually tell the guys this is where Aaron likes to throw the football, and there's a greater chance of you being in this position, of you getting the football, as opposed to you not being in this position, and you're not going to get the football. Stephen A., you asked Schefter that Davante left because of the uncertainty around Aaron Rodgers. I had him on my podcast, Club Shay, and what he said is that he went to the Packers before the season and a little bit during the season. He says, look, with the uncertainty around Aaron Rodgers, I would be willing to stay even though Aaron might leave. Let's go ahead and get the deal done. And they didn't want to do anything. Then after the season, they came back and the numbers weren't where they were supposed to be until the Raiders stepped up. And then he said once the Raiders stepped up, he's like, nah, I gave y'all a year and a half to get this deal done. I'm out. And so that's why he really left. He didn't really want to leave, but he wanted the Packers to do right by him, considering the type of numbers that he had put up for the past 3 seasons. And they weren't willing to do that. They wanted to make him like the 5th or the 6th highest paid.
Got it.
And he said, I wasn't willing. I thought I was one of the best receivers in football, and that wasn't going to work for me. So that's why he ended up leaving. He didn't want to leave. He was willing to stay, even with the uncertainty around Aaron, if the Packers had done the right thing. No. And it wasn't until the 11th hour that they wanted to do the right thing. But he said, my mind was already made up. I was out the door.
I got something.
All right, so Shannon Sharpe seems to bring up the decision of the Packers, to trade away Davante wanting to stay there. And I think in regards to this, when you look at the Packers back in, the 2021 season before Davante was traded after that season, there had for years in Green Bay been a lot of, questions regarding Aaron Rodgers' future. For a few off seasons, the question was, okay, is Rodgers coming back? Is he not coming back? Is he retiring? What's happening here? And so the Packers in 2022, when Davante went to the Las Vegas Raiders, they struggled a lot early because there are a ton of young receivers. Rodgers had to really try to get acclimated to them. And when you lose the guy you trust like Davante, it definitely hurts, what you can do. And Davante thought going to Las Vegas, he would have some more security, I think, in the long run, not just in one season when it comes to quarterback. And oddly enough, Derek Carr only lasts one season. And so he would have been much better off just on, quarterback play up to this point if he had stayed in Green Bay. But now, of course, being back with Aaron, that has to be he has to have a big sigh of relief here where he's like, okay, finally, I have my guy back. Not only a guy that, I know can play at the highest level, but a guy that I trust and we know each other and know how each other like to play at a top tier level. And so that's why this move is, I think, better than any other kind of move the Jets could have made, for any other receiver, even, for teams that maybe wouldn't want to trade a guy. You'd still rather have Davante just because of that connection they have. And that's going to come up huge, especially in the red zone where the Jets have really struggled. Aaron and Davante in the red zone, it's like they have the same mind. They know exactly what each other are thinking. And I think lots of the problems we've seen from the Jets early in the season, whether it's Garrett Wilson earlier in the year, whether it's Mike Williams in the last game where Rodgers and him aren't on the same page, that is not going to happen here with Davante. So now to have Davante, to have Allen Lazard, you have a ton of guys that Rodgers trusts, and trust is a massive thing to Rodgers in the way that he plays football. And, he likes to know where they're going to be. They need to be in the exact spot, the exact right time, and Davante is obviously going to do that. And having Davante, as they brought up, is going to help. Probably, you can have Davante sort of sharing what Aaron would like, just like Allen Lazard, I assume, has done from time to time. But that is it for today. If you want more NFL content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.